Hello, this is categorization 7. So, in the middle of contextual categorization theory, there's a written portion that comes before this, I hope. So what I want to talk about in this segment are the implications of the theory. While I'm talking about the implications, it's also a way to explain the theory. So here's the first. The first implication is delocalization of meaning. Delocalization of meaning. What that means is that the meaning of an object, the identity, the categorization, the word, what have you, is not local to the object. It's not inside the object. Instead, it's in those items that surround the object. From the example before, what it is to be a duck are those things surrounded with being a duck. Maybe a pond or a meadow and feathers and a nose of a particular type. Take as an example, if you are telling your if you're 18 or 20 and you're telling your parents, hey, I've fallen in love with somebody. I say, really, where are they from? And you say, Oakland. Okay, that has one set of connections. But they don't ever have to have gone to Oakland. They don't have to know what Oakland is as a set of essential features or necessarily even how to find it on a map in order for them to have some set of connections that go along with Oakland and now come to some sort of judgment as to whether or not this is a wise or an unwise choice. There are many people in this country who had an opinion about Saddam Hussein who, if you gave them a map of the Middle East, could not have found Iraq on a map. Know nothing about the history, have only seen Saddam on TV, no understanding about who Saddam Hussein was in the 70s or the 80s or anything like that. They don't need those essential features in order to categorize, judge, understand, use even. The meaning as we actually go about our lives of any particular object is in those things that we connect to the object, that we see around the object. And again, this is why your parents didn't want you to hang around with bad characters, because you'd be seen that way. In high school, you hang around the druggies, you know what? Everybody figures you're a druggie. You are what you surround yourself with, which is why it's so much fun to get something nice and new, Nothing like walking around with the new MacBook Pro or a BMW. For me, after a long time of just changing diapers, going to Nordstrom's and getting a couple of suits. Felt really good. Just walked around with my Nordstrom's bags for a little while. You know that feeling you get when you spend a little money and you've got something nice? You get a car, new to you, new at all, doesn't matter. You call up your friends and say, hey, come outside. And then here's what you want to do. Drive by with them seeing you in the car. Now, it's not their car. They don't really care. But you just feel so good as you do it. Because you're going to be taken as the things that you surround yourself with. There used to be a designer named Donna Karan. She may still be around. There were these T-shirts. DKNY is what it said. T-shirts would go for $50, $60, $70. T-shirt. Donna Karan didn't design the T-shirt. I mean, the logo, yeah, but it's just a logo and printed on a T-shirt that made the T-shirt go from $5 to $50 or $60. And why are you wearing it? To be associated with that name, with that fashion, with that style. You are what you are associated with. When I see, you go to a club, talking to somebody, and you say to them, where do you go to school? And they say, Stanford. And the list comes up of what's connected to a Stanford student. Then they say to you, are you in school? Yeah, where are you at? Well, Foothill, but I'm on my way to transfer to Berkeley. It's always these little things with dashes in between. Because if they say Stanford and you say Foothill, well, we're all going to be judged by what we're associated with. Now, Foothill in some places, wow, that would be the thing because the other person is doing well. Okay. So whatever you can surround yourself with, it becomes really fun about the time of your high school reunion, by the way. The point. Meaning is not in the object, but in those things that surround the object. What it is to be Asian American, Mexican American, Guatemalan, Black, African American, white, Italian, Irish, each of those things is not connected to some real set of features that each one of these objects have. Instead is, for all practical purposes, what we connect those things to. So being white doesn't really say anything about your skin color. Again, I ask you, are the French white? Are Greeks white? Italians white? I can tell you in this country they weren't always white. They may have become white at one point. Can you find a black person and a white person whose skin color is closer to each other than that black person is to other black people, or that white person is to other white people? Skin color is the spectrum. It doesn't have the hard and fast rules. It doesn't know that you've divided it in this way. What it is to be African American is what you have to live with in other people's minds and your own because of what's connected to that. What it is to be Asian American is what people connect to that. Those things change historically. They move over time and space, just as the categories themselves change time. The object can remain the same, but what is connected with being black in Mississippi, Detroit, Seattle, Los Angeles, Columbia, all different things. The object hasn't changed, but what's connected to the object's meaning, how it's understood, how it's dealt with, has changed. The delocalization of meaning says that the definition of an object, if you will, is not in the object's features, but in those things that we connect to that category. Okay. Well, that's why there's a discussion area. Second implication. Is induction, which is to say we use a few of the things that we have seen, that we've categorized, to understand a larger set. And let me say it differently. We generalize. We see one or two examples of something. Take Oakland. You know, there's people that have just seen news stories on Oakland, and that's how they know Oakland. They haven't even been to Oakland. And by the way, they're not really looking forward to going to Oakland because, again, they've only seen a few news stories. From that, they understand an entire city, an amazingly diverse city of an incredible spectrum of wealth and poverty, racial difference, neighborhood integration and disintegration, all sorts of things. They'll understand it from just a few examples. Do you remember hearing about that time? Becomes the only way you know it. Beverly Hills, and a lot of people in the country have never been to Beverly Hills, but there was a show, Beverly Hills 90210, and they think that show, for all practical purposes, is Beverly Hills for them. Now, I was in Beverly Hills. Unless all the kids on that TV show were Persian, that's not the Beverly Hills that I was in. It's just different when you actually get there. It's not what you think. I'm from Oklahoma. People ask me, hey, do you have phones? Did you ride a horse? And you're looking at them like, yes, we had phones. It's not 1920. Yes, of course. But what do people know of Oklahoma? When I say I have a PhD in sociology, people say, they have no clue what the hell I'm talking about. I mean, they understand kind of a PhD, but truly, honestly, sometimes you'll get a person say, well, I had a sociology class in college, and that's about all you're going to get. So people use one example, a couple of examples, and generalize about a whole category of things. So there's two implications. We'll come back with some more on the next one.